Bobby, I just have to tell
In
you.
all my years, I never thought I'd say this, but Deborah Messing, it'll have to wait.
What's wrong?
I just really love you.
I love you too.
You like love, bro?
Oh, yeah.
I'm Vanessa Zoltan.
I'm Daniel Schroeder.
And this is Hot and Bothered. Okay, Daniel, this movie has an ending. And I will say, a recurring thing that I say on this podcast is that I wish that this movie ended with a musical number. And this movie ends with a musical number. I was like, dear Vanessa, we hear you. This movie is for you, straight lady. So can you please summarize the ending of this film?
Of course. So the ending of the movie begins at like an opening night gala for this LGBTQ history museum that Billy has been creating with his team of queers. And so we are there watching him kind of like be happy that this is happening, but also sad that like Aaron isn't there anymore because they've broken up and had this like really big falling out. And at a certain point of the night, after like seeing how happy his straight friends are, who are like those are some of the sweetest characters in the movie. I love that couple and their kids.
I know, and their kids.
Very, very sweet.
It just feels really good to have some good straight representation in this movie.
I'm glad you could see yourself in this movie, even if I
really
couldn't
could see myself in her. You know, she has like 3 lines, and I'm like, oh, she's great, just like me.
I love that for you. And so after like seeing how happy all of his friends are in their relationships and in life, and his friend basically saying like, I was so happy to see you happy for those few months.
Yeah.
He decides that he's going to text Aaron, hey, what's up? And while that's happening, we also cut to Aaron on the couch in his very nice apartment with his brother playing video games, like struggling to talk about their issues because his brother just got divorced. Aaron had this breakup, and Aaron clearly wants to talk about it, but his brother doesn't know how to, and Aaron kind of like has to force him into letting him be vulnerable, which is a really sweet moment. And then Aaron gets this text after agonizing over how sad he is that Bobby is not in his life anymore, and they just like start cheering like, hey, what's up? In the most bro-y way, but it's so cute in that like very earnest bro.
He texted what's up.
It's really cute. I was charmed by that moment. And so rather than text him back or anything like that, he just starts running to this museum.
Billy Crystal runs.
Yeah, he starts running to the gala, and Bobby is giving this like speech and just kind of saying like, thank you all for coming. And then he sees Aaron in the audience after like constantly looking at his phone and not seeing any response and realizing like, oh, Aaron is here. He does see me. And he like says to his queers on stage with him, basically like, okay, let's do this. And they go backstage and come out with a piano, and the lesbian has a guitar on, and he is basically doing an homage to Aaron's favorite musical artist, Garth Brooks, and wrote this like country song to sing to Aaron and admit his love. It's this really earnest, heartfelt thing that is happening in front of everybody.
Where he's learned to be vulnerable.
Sure. And then after they sing the song, he gets down on one knee in front of Aaron and says, can we date for 3 months and reassess? And
yes,
they're all happy. And then we cut to 3 months later, and Aaron's mom has brought her like elementary school to see the museum, and Aaron is there as well. And she's saying to Bobby, like, wow, I was wrong. These kids really should be exposed to this because this is their history too. Thank you. And Bobby and Aaron are happy and end on, should we have kids? Oh, I never want kids. And running off into the sunset.
Yay. Okay, I just have to point out one thing before we move on. And I just think you're going to love this because I know that you're a musical theater person. There is a moment right before the musical number in this where people go, Bobby, Bobby, Bobby. And I'm like, oh my God, this is from Company. He named himself Bobby in this movie so they could go Bobby baby in this moment. And it made me so happy to have just like this little Sondheim reference. And I was like, Billy Eichner is so smart. Anyway, I just had to point that out. Okay. How does this contribute to what the movie believes about love?
I mean, I think that it's kind of a thesis statement for the movie in its own way, because the song is basically is love is not love, our love is real. Like, it's trying to break apart the idea of love is love is love is love. Not just love is different for queer people versus straight people, but like love is different for everybody. And like our love might be different from their love, might be different from your love, but like even if they're all the same word, they're not necessarily the same thing. And I think that that's one thing that this movie is really trying to get at, is that like love isn't love, isn't love, isn't love. And so I think like it's coming back to the vulnerability of it all, like being willing to like bare your soul on stage for this person you love. Though, of course, I do have to wonder, like, I wrote down in my notes, what is this event? Because sure, it's like a gala, but also it's like now a concert. And it's like all these people are now watching this like guy sing a song to his lover. I don't know. It makes sense thematically for the movie. For me, it didn't necessarily make sense like logically for the movie, but
have you ever seen a rom-com before?
Yes, I have.
Like the end of 27 Dresses, where she just like interrupts someone's wedding. Have you ever seen a Marvel movie before? Like,
yes.
Endings don't make sense. You're just supposed to let them wash over you. You're supposed to be like, yeah, I'm now in an alternate world where at the
love
museum
exists.
opening, the curator, who is, in defense of the logic of the movie, who is like a famous podcaster and like does have
so well known for his singing.
Yeah, this just feels like rom-com on point.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I've never been to a museum opening, but I doubt a lot of them have just like a mini concert that people have rehearsed for at the ready.
Totally.
But I haven't been because I haven't been invited, not because I don't want to. Someone invite me to your museum opening.
I'll open one so you can come.
Thank you. That's really kind of the least you could do.
Okay, but what about you? How do you think this contributes to what this movie is trying to argue or what it believes about love?
I think that it like is really situated in this ambiguity about whether or not queer love stories are different from straight ones, right? Like the song is love is not love. Like all love stories are unique. And just like because it has such a stereotypical rom-com ending, it just keeps going back and forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's straddling. It's like, no, love is not love. But we're going to have the most stereotypical When Harry Met Sally, 27 Dresses, Sleepless in Seattle, Running Through the Streets of New York ending. And then there's a proposal, but the proposal is with a borrowed ring on a pointer finger, and it's for a 3-month commitment, right? It's just like constantly going back and forth as to whether or not queer love stories can fit within the paradigm of straight love stories. And it's saying it's different, but it's in conversation with them, but it's different.
Yeah, I agree. I think the song is trying to like place this movie in conversation with its straight counterparts while trying to make it stand alone. I don't necessarily know if it works for me as well as it does for you in that way, but I think that this is the clearest version of a thesis statement of the movie that we are given. This is like the text of the movie.
Yeah. I don't know how well this ending works for me. I often zone out at the end of Marvel movies and rom-coms where I'm like, I don't find this declaration of love very affecting. You know, like we just recently talked about 27 Dresses. I find like one moment with James Marsden really hot, and the rest of it I just think is like super hot nonsense. And there are moments of this that I find affecting. I like that he borrows a ring from a trans woman. I love the anxiety of like, oh shit, is he about to actually propose? Which is really funny because it's a very similar moment in Fire Island where the Bingley character says, I love you. And everybody is like, wow, it's only been a weekend. Like, don't say that. But the moment that I find most affecting is one of the things that I love about this movie, and it's only within the context of it being a super mainstream movie that this is affecting, but I love the way that they roughhouse between the two of them. They like really get turned on by like pushing each other around a little bit and being rough together. And we see them have like sweet, gentle sex also, but like the first time that they really make out is because they start sort of like wrestling. And that just is not something that I have seen in a mainstream piece of media before, that kind of like rougher gay sex. And I love that this movie ends on them like joyfully roughhousing again about kids, but they're like shoving each other. And that is just like very different than the ending of a straight rom-com. And so I don't know, it felt like the way that they are relating to each other felt gay in a way that was very affecting for me.
I think I fall down a lot where you do in terms of like tuning out the ending of the movie sometimes, because like we know it's coming, we know it's going to happen.
Right.
Everything leading up to that is more interesting than like the moment itself.
A good happily ever after is really rare and is so fun when it happens. It's why like Clueless is great, right? Like it's really hard. It's really hard.
Yes, for sure. And I think that your observation about their like roughhousing is a really good one, because gay men do relate to each other differently than like a heterosexual couple does in that same kind of intimacy. So it's really beautiful to see that for sure. And I love that they're both still so committed to being commitment phobic that they're like, well, we have to check in 3 months. And then by the time they're checking in at 3 months, they're like, well, now it's time to talk about kids. We're so deep into this, even though it's only been 3 months, but like now we got to talk about the real stuff. Yeah. So I think that it makes sense for both of their characters for sure.
And that, like, Bobby, the lesson that he has learned throughout the movie is vulnerability, but he hasn't totally learned it because Aaron brings up kids and Bobby literally physically runs away, right? Like, he's, like, running down the street as if, like, someone has just stolen his purse and he needs to get it back. He's just, like, running so fast. And Aaron, like, catches up with him and, like, they have this roughhousing moment that's very cute. And so, yeah, I like that, like, he's changed, but he also hasn't changed.
For sure.
The other thing that I found really affecting is the way that Aaron has changed. You know, the big fight that the two of them have before Aaron like cheats with the bro-y hockey player is that Aaron is like, basically, you're being too gay in front of my family. You mentioned this last week. And the ending is Aaron standing proudly next to Bobby in front of the LGBTQ museum where Bobby has just given a lecture on the invisibility of queer love stories to a bunch of Aaron's mom's second graders. And so there is just this like real arc to Aaron also that I think is done of Aaron is still super bro-y and yet he's like stopped this internal homophobia as projected onto his lover.
Yes, he does seem to have worked through the internalized homophobia he has about being with someone who presents their gayness in the way that Bobby does, but still hasn't necessarily fully reckoned with his own about himself. I feel like the whole chocolatier thing is such an afterthought that like
the chocolatier thing, that's where I wanted to go too. Can we spend a minute on it?
So at one point in the movie, Aaron admits to Bobby that he like always as a kid would sneak off to go to like, was it the Godiva store to like look at all of the beautifully wrapped chocolates and like how he longed to like be a chocolatier, but like that was too gay.
And like he hates his life. He is a probate lawyer, like an estate lawyer, and he hates it. And he like says that. He's like, I hate my job. I hate my life. And the thing I love about the chocolatier story is that it is such a hallmark. Like, all I wanted to do was be a chocolatier. And I wanted to do a deep dive on whether or not this actor played someone on Hallmark who was a chocolatier, like how deep this joke goes. So the fact that like his little baby queer heart like wanted to be a chocolatier, but it was too gay, I do find very funny. Sorry to interrupt. Please continue.
No, I think it is funny, but I think that it kind of doesn't commit itself strongly enough to work. I think that like both the movie doesn't necessarily bring up enough of the Hallmark joke around it throughout the movie as frequently as it could if it wanted to make this as funny as it could be, but also then doesn't grant Aaron the growth that he could have through embracing this, rather than it just being like, oh, I'm still as broy, as straight passing, as mask as I have been, but I also make chocolates now. It felt more like your straight friend got a gay hobby rather than like your gay friend is embracing their gayness more.
Yeah, and there were two moments where I was like waiting for the chocolatier joke. They go with Aaron's parents to a like a Hallmark Christmas market. And I was like waiting for there just to be like a shot of him coveting how beautiful a chocolate was wrapped, you know? I was like, wait, where's the chocolate joke? And then, you know, there's this like very mini moment where Aaron leaves a voice memo for Bobby and is like, I've started making chocolates.
No, he sends a video.
He sends a video, thank you, where he's like, I'm making all of these very gay chocolates and I want you to sell them at the gift shop of your museum and I want all the proceeds to go to the museum. And the end shot is like of them leaving the museum and you exit through the gift shop. I'm like, again, why aren't we like seeing the chocolates? I just feel like there were a couple of moments where I, not a screenwriter, was like, guys, like make the chocolates more of a through line and you were missing it.
They really chocolate us down.
They did chocolate us down. I would like to think that if you went to like a press showing of this movie in LA, you left with some like beautiful gay chocolate.
I can only hope. And when you open the box, it's Billy Eichner yelling at you that this movie's important.
I'm just trying to imagine what makes a chocolate gay. I'm like, what would open?
A cream filling.
It goes, Bobby, baby, with cream filling. There it is. Well done. Can't believe I just left that there. Another thing that stood out to me, you know, in my research for this, I came across Sam Sanders's review of the movie. And Sam had very similar concerns to the ones that you state. And he pointed out that this movie has a lot of stated anxiety about the fact that it is a white cis love story, right? Like with the joke at the beginning of him getting that award and, you know, the speech at the end being like, it was a Black trans woman who threw the first brick at Stonewall, most likely, right? Like it has all the stated anxiety about it. And yet at the very end, it is literally physically two white cis handsome men at the center of this museum launch. And I think that that speaks to your big critique of the movie of it's giving lip service to something that it doesn't live up to totally. And I do think that there would have been a lot of low lift ways to further queer that moment, right? Like you would just need a shot of other queer folks making out. Like there really are a lot of ways to do it that I think were missed opportunities.
Yeah, and I think the unfortunate truth in that is that so many white gay men, especially white gay men that live in Manhattan, have such white lives and have such lives that really only resemble themselves. So in some ways, it feels like it's kind of trafficking in the same, like, oh, well, let me gesture at these other like queer experiences that I'm aware of. But like at the end of the day, the experience is a white cis one. It is a truth, so I get it, but it is disappointing that that truth is being kind of perpetuated.
Right. The one thing that we haven't talked about in this ending is that we kind of get a tour of the museum.
Yeah.
After the song, but before the like class visit to the museum. And you mentioned the Ben Stiller joke, but there are a lot of very funny jokes where like straight people are dressed as gay people. I'm trying to think, what was the Seth Meyers one?
Harvey Milk.
Oh, yeah. Where Seth Meyers is like, hi, I'm Seth Meyers and I'm an ally and I kind of look like Harvey Milk. And it's so campy, which, you know, like one of the problems throughout the movie is that Bobby really wants this museum to be serious. And, you know, other people are like, no, you should bring joy into it. But really, the big hilarious thing is that Bowen Yang plays this philanthropist, media, multi-millionaire in the movie who's made this $5 million donation on the caveat that there will be like a ride, like a Disneyland type amusement park ride in the middle of the museum. And you get that ride. And then the Ben Stiller joke about this being like a night at the museum. I don't know. It is so campy and silly. And it felt like this little 2-minute delightful ride at the end of the movie.
Yes, I think that the Bowen Yang roller coaster is very funny. I think that the Night of the Museum moment is, for me, maybe the funniest moment in the movie, simply because putting in Ben Stiller's mouth the line, "Hey, queers," is laugh out loud funny. And I guess like getting these flashes of hilarity right at the end really made me long for this movie to be laced with more camp throughout. This is such a campless movie for so much of it. And like one of the things about gayness that is so fun is camp. And this movie never felt like it wanted to go there in ways that other movies are willing to, and that this movie had flashes of, but only right there at the end.
Okay, if you could rewrite this ending, what would happen?
Everybody would have died on the roller coaster. I mean, I think I would have maybe made it a little less corny, but like it can only end in the way it can end. And so it really makes sense. What about you?
I mean, this gave me a musical number, but should there have been like a big gayer musical number over the credits? Yes.
Like you can't tease Kristen Chenoweth at the beginning of a movie and not have a Kristen Chenoweth go off at the end.
Yes.
Chekhov's Kristen Chenoweth.
Chekhov's Kristen Chenoweth. And Chekhov's Sondheim with the Bobby baby. Mm-hmm. Like you gave me a musical number, but it is not actually the one that I wanted.
Yeah, I want Billy Eichner tearing off his suit to like reveal to a white tux. Someone throws him a cane off stage and he starts doing one singular sensation. Like,
Neil Patrick Harris comes. Billy Porter comes. Like, yeah. So I'm so glad that at the end of the day, the ally has saved this film.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ally.
Daniel, thank you so much for coming on and talking about this movie. I love arguing with you about pop culture.
It's a lot of fun.
You've been listening to Hot and Bothered. We are a small show, and so we need your support to run. If you can, please consider supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/hotandbotheredrompod. We are a Not Sorry production. Our executive producers are me, Vanessa Zoltan, and Ariana Nettleman. We are edited and produced by Ariana Nettleman. This month is Ariana's birthday, and when I asked her what she wants, she really did, guys. She said 100 more paid patrons on our Hot and Bothered Patreon so we can keep making this show. So we're running a Patreon campaign throughout the month of September in honor of Ariana's birthday. If you've been listening for a while and you don't support us at the $5 a month tier, now's the time to sign up. You get ad-free episodes plus an additional scene study for each movie. And you get to support the work that the small feminist production company does. We are totally independent as a media company, and we're really lucky that it is because of our patrons that we get to stay that way and make what we want to make. We are distributed by Acast. And thanks as always to our soulmate level patrons. Molly Reilly, who we would chase through an airport to declare our love to. Elizabeth Schweinsberg, whose heart we would play a game of one-on-one basketball for. Lauren Byer O'Connell, who we would call up on stage to dance with us in front of the whole summer camp. Avi Lichtenstein, who we would make every person in the kingdom try on a shoe for. Kristen Hall, who we would travel through a time portal to spend the 19th century with. Shiri Yadlin, who we would write a sonnet about and read it in front of the whole class. Delia Rose, who we are majorly, totally, but crazy in love with. Leia Goldberg, who we would carry on our backs as we jump from tree to tree like a little spider monkey. Russell Tong, whose wedding we would yell, "I object" at in order to run away together. And Emma Greenlee, who we would choreograph an elaborate cheer for. Thanks, everyone, and we'll talk to you next week.